Hey there, I'm straightening the bottom corner as you can see right here. I'm going to put it over here. But today what we're going to do is we're going to have an interview with Sharon. Sharon is a dynamite, a powerhouse in Facebook advertising, right? And basically, she's going to show you a little known secret of actually how she basically was almost out of the internet marketing, really. But now that she found a little loophole inside Facebook, where that now she's bringing in $11,235 a month, and it's only getting better, really. She's getting more clients. But remember, one thing about Facebook advertising, it's not just for like getting clients, which is very powerful. You can make a ton of money doing this because if you can start sending traffic to anything you want, you have your clients such as electricians, plumbers, dentists, lawyers, air conditioning guys following you like puppies because traffic is king. And that's one thing. A lot of people, they teach free traffic. That's great. And you know what? If you have a handle on that, you can send it and dial it up. That's great. But I do love Facebook ads and I love YouTube ads. And the reason I do is because all you have to do is basically dial it up and you can send as much traffic as you want to anything you want. Now remember that one thing about Facebook ads and YouTube ads is basically you can promote anything you want. If you want to promote an affiliate product and where that you can possibly make $400 or $500 a day by basically turning on the traffic really and send it to the offer, that's basically almost as easy as it gets really. And it almost depends on the offer, of course, and it also depends on really how much traffic you're sending to that offer and if it's converting. But we can talk about that a little bit later. And here is Sharon. Okay, she, like I said before, we're going to explain a lot of things about it, how Facebook ads work. I'm going to show some secrets of how she does it. Let me hear a little bit about it. This is basically her. And what we're going to do is we're going to take her on to a interview, and she's going to explain everything, all the dirty little secrets and tricks and how to actually get your Facebook ads to be seen and massive traffic or anything. I'm going to tell you, she knows her stuff. So let me actually take you straight over here, and this is where that basically we have the interview. So get ready, take lots of notes, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff. And I mean, this is a great interview. And there's already been 413 views or anything. So I figure why not take it out to the mass public, because I figure a lot of people would love to learn Facebook ads almost for free inside here, right? So let's go straight there. And then if you like what you see, you know what? They got a course where they teach the whole thing, all the nitty gritty, step by step. I mean, I went through it. I have it myself, and it's highly valuable. It's going to change my whole business. It's probably going to add another $100,000 to my already existing business, because once you know how to even the couple secrets that they turn, you know what? It just gets better and better. If you invest in yourself, your business is going to go higher and higher and higher, and that's really what it is. If you don't invest yourself, then who will? This is better than going to college. For my opinion, I'm excited about this, and I love the product. I love the course. I give it 2 thumbs up. Check out this interview and everything, and take lots of notes. There's a lot of gems here.
And can anybody hear me out there? Can I get a comment?
Yes, we hear you.
In the comments, if you guys can hear me, and we're live. This is the first time we're doing this, so new technology and stuff. Hey, Eddie, how you doing? All right, okay. Eddie can hear us. All right, awesome. Yeah, I guess that they only give you 11 minutes to start your broadcast from the time you say it's going to start. And we were trying to get some things set up, and I missed that window, so they deleted the broadcast. So I started a new one. Aloha, Lori. Welcome. Nick is he's not going to be on the screen with us, but he's here. Hey, Leah. Good. Welcome. Great. Everybody's here. Awesome. Well, like I said, this is the first time we're doing one of these live events, so Nick and I have been talking about doing more stuff like this, and we thought this particular topic was a good topic. And hey, Marshall, you're back. All right, awesome. Yeah, Eddie says you're on the clock. Haha, that's right. I'm on the clock. Yeah, things. You know how it is when you schedule things to go live. It never works out. Like I was going to do this setting outside, and it's raining. 6-figure social media agency on Oahu, and we met through some various connections, and she was telling Nick and I about the kind of stuff that she was doing and what she was doing with Facebook for local businesses. And we were like, man, we want to help you kind of get this stuff out there. And so we've been working with her to put together a product. It's called Down and Dirty Facebook Marketing. And it's going to be launching this coming Tuesday, May the 2nd. And I think you guys are going to love it. I was just going through the back end of the course yesterday, double checking stuff and looking at what, and there's a lot of valuable stuff in there. But today I thought we would just bring Sharon on and we would let her talk about Facebook advertising and what she's doing with local businesses and kind of how she started and where her agency's at now and some of the trends she sees. And maybe you guys can get some inspiration and find some value so you can go out there and start offering this service to local businesses. This is something that Nick and I have just kind of started to get into, and so we've been looking to expand this in our own businesses. So I'm super excited to have Sharon on, and I'm going to bring her in the screen here. This is Sharon Gutierrez, and she's on Oahu.
Hi.
So a couple of things that we were kind of talking about before the broadcast started. Sharon, why don't you take a minute and just let our sharks know kind of how you got started in this, like what got you into local marketing? I mean, did you already know about Facebook when you got started? How did it kind of evolve into that? And then we'll just sort of go back and forth.
Yeah, thanks. Well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So excited. Well, kind of how I got started, it all happened really organically. So I was always kind of nerdy, like really nerdy. When I was 14, I would build websites for fun, and that was literally like my pastime. So I would like read books or whatever, and then I'd build all these websites. And I didn't really know I wanted to get into marketing until later. And I moved to Hawaii about 6 years ago. And I was working for a nonprofit. I was doing social media, and Facebook ads were kind of just getting started. And so I started playing with it. And then just through networking and meeting people, I started realizing that there was this really big need for, yes, Nerds Unite. Making me feel better. Nice to be in the fellow company. But yeah, so I started realizing that there's all of these small businesses that they needed marketing help, but they had no idea where to start. And so social media was kind of becoming hot, but people didn't know what to do with it. And kind of back then we focused a lot on content, and content was king. Like, remember before like video even became that important to algorithms, like, you know, it was like text and like, oh, if you did pictures, it was kind of a big deal. And so I focused a lot on content and creating really great content. And then I started playing with Facebook ads and realizing like, this is the key. Like, this is going to be how you can really successfully build your online business. Or for other businesses, this is how I can build their online presence.
Yeah, and you know, I totally agree. It's funny. I've been looking at a lot of like Gary Vaynerchuk stuff.
Yeah.
And like that. And I'm late to the party.
Kind of.
Facebook is really like where it's going. Like this is like the preview. Like this is not going anywhere. It's just going to Facebook is going to be more and more crucial to businesses and local businesses specifically for them to be able to have an impact, because as all this stuff kind of grows and expands, they're going to be stuck out there. It's sort of like when websites came around, you know, people were like, oh, kind of late to getting to websites. And then like once, I know a lot of businesses here in Hawaii, once they got websites, like that was already done. Like we're already on the next thing. And so I think this service is a long-term service. Like this is something that's going to be around. I mean, Facebook is not going anywhere, right?
No, I really think that it's king, and they keep showing over and over again that, I mean, as far as a business model, oops, these headphones, I'm borrowing them, so they don't really work.
Oh. No worries.
But as far as a business model, I mean, Facebook has really just killed it over and over again. And I think that the fact that they incorporated live into their just their regular platform versus trying to do it separately, like look at Twitter and Periscope, you know, who's on Periscope? No one. And then also like Snapchat, I'm curious to see how that ends up playing out, because Facebook just brings everything integrated and they have such a huge audience. And I know a lot of small business owners, especially when a lot of times when they come to me, they're actually just like looking for content, and I have to like sell them into the concept of ads. But they're like, well, I don't want to have to pay Facebook. And I'm like, no, it's a completely legitimate business model. I mean, they've captured so many people with such, like we can target so like to all these minute details. And I'm like, if you want to actually get ahead, I was like, we can do content all day, but it's not going to get you the traffic, the results, the leads, the calls that you want. You have to do Facebook ads.
Yeah, and well, the other thing that was really kind of like a reminder to me is the other day I was watching a guy talking about Facebook, and he was mentioning the fact that there's still like 3 billion people that are going to be brought online over the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and I know sometimes when we're in this online marketing, like helping businesses with online presence, I know that I get jaded and I think, oh, it's already where it's at, right? Like there's no, how much more can it grow? And like the reality is it can grow a lot, and things are drastically. Like a lot of stuff we're seeing is just a preview. And I just saw Daryl made a comment about how it seems like doing Facebook ads is getting more expensive, and one of the things, and that's a result of like more people going there, and it's a valuable thing to do, right?
Yeah, I could actually make a comment on that. So in part of the course, we talk about that, about the different things that can affect your cost per click. And one of the things is the industry size. And so because Facebook ads is charged by a bid versus just an outright cost, I mean, when it's getting crowded. So there's more and more people trying to market to the same group, and even though it's growing, and like you said, 3 million more are coming on to the platform and everything, but we're all trying to market to the same people. And so it's more competitive. And so, yeah, prices have gone up, and we do have to be strategic. But Facebook is, like, the good news is that they are really rewarding quality content. If you have high quality graphics, high quality copy, if you start getting some kind of traction with your click-through rate, then Facebook is going to reward you, and you can continue to see that with a lower cost per click.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the things too that local businesses are going to have to deal with is that, I think it costs more to run ads and generate content for a business, like a business page, versus if you have some kind of content that you're trying to just get out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of accurate? So I think local businesses are really going to need help, because it is going to get expensive to just go out there and try to drive people to your business page. So they're going to need strategies and tactics to still be able to make advertising on Facebook not only effective but affordable, right?
Yeah, and in general, business owners they're really just uneducated because it's such a complicated topic. I was sitting with a construction company on the Big Island recently, and I mean they're a huge company, and so they're spending all of this money boosting their content, but their goal is to grow their likes, and I'm just like, well, how's that working for you? And so it's like it's helping and it's doing something, but they're not doing any targeting, and I'm like, are you even it's like you have a pretty specific niche, right? So, I mean, what are you doing to get in front of the right person? Like, it's literally spending hundreds of dollars just hitting boost, and then wondering, why they're not getting the results that they're hoping for. And I'm like,
why are sales not going up, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when you and I were talking about just Facebook ads in general the other day, one of the things that really stood out to me is with Facebook, yes, the ads can get more expensive to run, but you can be so targeted in who your ad shows to, and I think you're right. I think that's what most businesses are doing. Most local businesses are just hitting boost posts and then just sitting there praying, let's hope something happens. We know we're supposed to be doing this, but there's no real strategy behind it, and they're not targeting anybody specific. Whereas if they go in and they create an ad, and you can really narrow that market down, you may be, let's say that they're spending $300 a month to boost their posts, and they're just going to whoever. They can take that same $300, go in, have someone like you or the people in our Shark group put together an ad that targets people that are going to be more likely to buy. You can get so specific with who sees that ad that your ROI on that kind of stuff is going to show that it's worth it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Nick, you're so right. Boosting a post is just donating money to Facebook. I completely agree. I mean, once in a while, I actually do build it into my monthly strategy. As far as I do put money into actually lead generation. So So I kind of divide the budget. So I'll put some money into either traffic to the site or actual lead capture or that kind of thing. I'll put a little bit of money into kind of just growing the page likes, and then once a week I'll find whatever the best performing post is and I'll push that out too. And the one thing that I do like about that is so I can spend a very minimal amount. I mean, really like $5 or $10. And I can reach most of the people that are actually following us. And so they kind of get this idea. And it's actually one of my clients a few years ago that taught me that kind of thing. Because everyone's like, yeah, you are always on social media. And she's like, not really. She posts a couple times a week, but she boosted one post a week. And but they would see that post again and again. And so it kind of gave this illusion that she's just everywhere. And I thought that was genius. And so I've been using it with my clients, and it's working great.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Well, and two, I think with the I just had a thought there, and now it escaped me right when I went to talk. Yeah, what happened? You know, I think one of the things that I thought about too when we were looking at helping you put this course together was like, there's a lot of courses out there with like Facebook marketing. You know, it really is one of the big things that if you're a local consultant, you really should be doing, especially with, you know, all the changes that are going on with Google, and they're constantly rolling out updates. And like, I mean, Nick and I, we still sell SEO services, and it's a core part of our business, and we're not planning on abandoning them, but we're also kind of looking to the future and being like, well, wait, you know, if for some reason that isn't, you know, if that stops being effective, what are we going to do? And I think Facebook marketing and this kind of stuff is sort of where it's all kind of trending to. Right?
Yeah, and there's so few people that are, I mean, if you just get some of the fundamentals down and just be consistent, and like having like solid goals, knowing what you're trying to actually accomplish for your client, and then like the key thing is like setting expectations and it kind of explaining how that process works and what kind of numbers, what kind of metrics you're going to be following, and then like reporting. And so that way it's like, it's like, this is going to get you consistent growth. It's going to take time, you know, but we will be able to see these like numbers improve month by month and that kind of stuff. And so it creates a really nice, healthy client relationship.
Yeah. Well, and I also think there's a lot of room for people to do this. Like, this isn't a saturated market by any means. Like, there's plenty of work to go around. And I was just, once again, I was watching another, I hate to mention Gary Vaynerchuk so much, but I was just watching another one of his posts, and they rolled out this thing at Vayner Media, and then they call it Vayner Beta. And so, like, you know, for their social media, they've only dealt with big brands, right? They don't deal with any smaller. And this just floored me, because he said, well, they rolled out this new product, Vayner Beta, where they're able to work with small businesses. And it's $25,000 a month.
Oh.
And I'm like, $25,000 a month? Like, how small business is that? So, but the light bulb that went off of my head was like, wow, what a thing to show a potential client as to like, look, this is what these services are valuable, right? Like, this can generate results. And so going in as somebody in a local area and helping businesses in your area and being able to come in, you would still be able to charge great rates, right? And but still bring good value.
Right, for sure. Daryl was asking if I use anything other than Facebook for your local client social media marketing. Yes and no. So I have, like when I first started, I was working with small businesses, and as time goes, I have a lot of like bigger size clients now, but I still work with small businesses. So I use Facebook marketing. That's like going to be kind of the key piece. If you have a client and I only have a few $100s, that's usually what I'm going to use is Facebook marketing. I will use, you know, the Facebook Business Manager for Instagram marketing and also doing audience network ads. And they get pretty great results as well. And then after that, if their budget increases, I like the concept, and I think a lot of local consultants can actually kind of take this concept, but I like to grow with my clients. And some of my first clients, when I started a few years ago, you know, they've been with me for a long time, and we've added on different services, you know, so later you can add on either more Facebook ads budget or PPC or SEO, those kind of things. But a lot of times, if you're working with a small local business and they're needing to get some kind of traction, then social media is going to be one of probably the most cost-effective ways to do so.
Man, I think that is a great tip and strategy that you just outlined there because, I think one of the things that I struggled with in the beginning when I was doing this is just what you said, growing with your clients. Like you have to be able to provide an array of services so that you can not only continue to work with those clients, but you can get your fees and your things up as clients grow, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean that's a great tip. That's a really good thing to know.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack just a minute. Can you tell me a little bit about so when you started, it was just you? I'm assuming.
Yeah. So as far as how my company has kind of developed over the last few years, when I started, it was just me, and I started please, I hope some of you guys can really learn some of these lessons because they were really difficult lessons to learn. It was just such a long, arduous process. But when I first started, it was just me, and I started off mainly with projects. And so I would help people set things up. I would actually train them. I would charge to train you how to do your own social media. And, and so that went okay. People got traction, but then no one ever did anything with it, really, ever. So, after a little while, I was like, okay, well, they need me to keep helping them. And so I started doing management. So I would do projects, and then I would upsell them to management. And so then I had, a handful of management clients, and it was pretty minimal as far as the amount of time that I was putting in. But then as the volume grew, I started getting a little bit overwhelmed, and I found that management was actually, it was just key. Projects are great, don't get it wrong, and I too appreciate all of the projects that we do on a consistent basis, but management is better and better. And so I started packaging together the social media piece. And I got too busy pretty quickly, and so I actually was still working a job when I got too busy. I was working a job. Luckily, I had a lot of flexibility, and so I was like, okay, so I can either quit my job and jump into this. I was like, which I probably should have done, and I didn't. And so I brought on help, and so God bless her, Finley, she came on board, and so she started. I trained her all the social media that I was doing. She was handling admin and intake and all those things, and so me and her were a little team for quite a while. And then it got to the point where it was too much, and so I ended up quitting my job. So we jumped all in, and then we started just building from there. And then, now I have maybe 6 or 7 people that are my key people. My operations structure is actually on Hawaii. I have 2 social media people, one on Oahu, one in Chicago, actually. And then this mix of other people, and then we work with about 18 different freelancers on various things. And so it's kind of, it's just been this really great collaborative hub, but social media is still the cornerstone of what we do.
And so what was the time frame of that progression?
I would say about 3 years from when I first started. I think in the last year alone, I went from having a couple of part-time admin people to building my team to 6. And that was really just kind of I just was over it, because I was like, okay, I can either try and do this all by myself, and and I think that's an issue that actually a lot of small businesses face, especially in the marketing realm, right? Is that we're really good at this. We can charge a pretty decent price, but then we get to the point where we can't take on any more work. And so we either have to decide if we're going to hire help and take a lower profit margin, or we're going to get backlogged, and then the quality of our services goes down, our turnaround time goes down, and we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. And I'm not saying it's not a horrible business model, because I have some very successful friends that do that, but for me, I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. And so, as you grow and you start to realize, I'm a little bit busy, so I could either keep putting time into growing my business, but I cannot always maintain all of my clients. That's that time when you need to get help. It's never going to be comfortable or fun, it just isn't. But it's anyone can do it. You don't have to have this crazy skill set. Wasn't go to Facebook University or something, but it's all trial and error, and just kind of keeping it simple, not being overcomplicating everything, and just doing it.
Yeah, and I think a great point that you mentioned in what you just shared there is this type of service, providing these types of marketing services, can really grow as much as you want it, or as little as you want it to grow.
Yeah.
If you just want to be somebody who does this on the side and make some extra money to go to the bills or whatever, that's perfectly okay. You don't have, your goal doesn't have to be to grow into a team of 20 and have an agency that's dealing with all these big brands, like this is a totally a viable model for somebody who's just looking to make some extra money and really doesn't want to like, I don't want to, I hate to use the word not work hard, because like, I think one of the misconceptions people have in offline marketing is like, it's not a lot of work, and there's always a lot of work regardless of what you're doing. Like dealing with clients has its challenges, and there's always stuff that comes up. So I mean, there's work involved, but you can kind of control that. And if your goal is to scale out to that level, then no big deal. Just do what you're comfortable with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And just because I did it that way, like it doesn't. A prime example is one of my key people, my operations person. She actually owns a virtual assistant company that assists larger companies like myself. And she didn't want to grow into that model. And and so she has her small group of people, and they take on a certain amount of projects, and and it works really well. She's incredibly successful. And so I mean, there's so many different ways. I think like as consultants, like as long as we know that are just open to wanting it to work a certain way and be willing to adjust things a little bit if necessary, but it's definitely one of those things that if you have just some basic understanding and a couple of clients, and you treat those clients well, and you just want it as a side gig, then I mean, I consider that a success if that's what you want.
Yeah,
and for me, that's how I started, because that's what I wanted. I just wanted, I wanted 3 or 4 clients, and I wanted 5 or 6, kind of thing. It's a little bit addicting, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Like it is like, I can actually make money with this, and then you're like, oh, I know my goals have changed, because I thought, I just had a few clients to make some extra money, and then it's like, I want to do this full time, and well, that's awesome. And and in the big picture, like 3 years is not that long.
Right.
To grow a business to the level that you've been able to grow it. So I mean, like if you went to anybody who was trying, like some of these, I know some of the brick and mortar businesses I deal with, they go lots of years with the struggle of trying to scale up and get bigger, and they just have one location. I mean, it's I really think like this whole offline marketing consulting thing and doing this stuff is really great because of that, your ability to do that, to control how fast you go, and your ability to grow to a point, to wherever you want to grow in whatever amount of time you want to do it. Right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. No, it does. I mean, it has been definitely a crazy little journey, and like one of the things, as far as like knowing if you want to do it full time, I was just curious, like out of the people that are following right now, as you're building or planning, like kind of like, I know you guys are at different stages of your business. What are some of the biggest maybe hurdles that you're facing? I don't know. I just think that's kind of interesting. I've probably been there, done that.
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, if you guys have any, if you don't mind sharing some of the hurdles that you're facing, maybe Sharon and I can give you some tips and pointers and some things on how to maybe overcome and get past some of that stuff. Because I totally agree, and I like what you said earlier about, I hope you appreciate the tips, because there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into that. Because it's like, I know sometimes we share tips in the group, and sometimes you think you can see people just kind of write them off. You're like, oh, that was such a hard lesson for me to learn. Oh yeah, I know that. You're like,
okay, that's a good question. What did Daryl say? It flashed up really fast on my screen.
Daryl said client education as to what they need. So I think this is a great question. What is, how, when you first go to, when you go to approach potential prospects and stuff, what are some of the things that you say to them, and some things that you do to get them to appreciate the need, I guess, or the value and what it is that you're offering?
I'm so excited to ask this question. Okay, we're all nerds here, right? I mean, this is I'm totally nerding out on this. So I'm really glad you asked this question, because I have just a super great story that attaches to this. So literally on Tuesday, I was out networking, and I met the owner of a local pest management company, and he's like, oh, my Instagram's posting to somebody else's Facebook, and my employees are running it, and I'm confused. He's like, we sit down and chat with me. He's like, we can do a consultation, or I'll pay for it, whatever. I was like, oh, it's a really easy fix. I was like, let's just grab coffee, because I do a free discovery session anyways, right? So we sat down. literally, this is a different, like, there's no different personality or behavioral styles. Like, he's a real, like, go-getter kind of person, and he's just like, okay, here's my problem. So I was able to, like, pull it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, just this, that, and this. And then I was like, did you even know you had this account set up? And he was, no. And so we started chatting about it. And so that's kind of like what we were talking about earlier as far as, like, the content. And he's like, wait, so your team just does this, right? So I could hire you guys to do it. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, you really need this Facebook ads? And it's like, why? I don't understand. I was like, well, I was like, it's pretty much one of the most powerful ways that you can do online marketing. I was like, we set it up through Facebook ads, but I can, it shows up on different things. I was like, let me just show you real quick. And I literally just like popped open my business manager, showed him the ads that I was running, and I was like, yeah, so this person, I was able to get 400 people to their website in the last couple of weeks. This person wanted event responses, so I was just able to break it down. And he was like completely just mind blown. And so I told him, we talked a little bit about how you can target, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, if you want to do ads with me, I was like, we can get a pretty solid group of people. I was like, I can target Oahu, because he's here on Oahu. I can target homeowners. I can target anyone who's shown interest maybe in like natural remedies for pest solutions, like that kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, because, that would be a good fit. And then we can design ads that would speak to their audience. And so we met on Tuesday. He asked for a proposal, so I sent it Tuesday night. Or Wednesday, Tuesday night. He called me on Wednesday, asked me to meet. We met on Friday. I closed, and when I woke up this morning, he had paid his first invoice. So,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So as far as like, I was excited about that story. But as far as like the education piece, like we talked about earlier, small businesses, they don't understand just like how powerful that it is. And so I think they do understand content because they understand it, they've been using it themselves a little bit. Usually I'll have that like basic idea, but just saying, okay, there's all these social media platforms, but where are the most people at? And, I'm not saying other social media platforms aren't great. I totally use them. But for the most part, if they're on a smaller budget, and that's kind of what we're talking about today, it's going to be, you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck on Facebook. And so we can talk about content and engagement and building a relationship with your clients, but that's only going to get you so far. And then you start talking about Facebook ads and be like, here's the other thing that we can do and get you in front of your clients. And I always break it into two goals, right? So I always say your first step is going to be brand awareness, right? And so, like Nick said earlier, as far as boosting pumps, I was like, want to get your name out there. Those are things that we can track. I was like, it's going to take people several times to see your name before they are even willing to click on something and trust you enough. Most of the time, you don't see a company once, click on it and purchase. That just doesn't happen. I think small businesses, they get the expectation that that's going to happen, but I'm like, but you wouldn't purchase like that. And they're like, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, okay. So you kind of like set that up for them and educate them about the process of, okay, well, we're going to work on the brand awareness piece, and we'll also start running the smaller ads to start getting some of the results you need. So are you wanting to get calls? Are you wanting to get opt-ins? Are you wanting to get traffic to your site? Like that kind of stuff, right? And so I think that you kind of like educate them out that way and build those expectations, and that really works well. And you explain the budget piece, and I think too a huge part of it is just confidence. That's how it works, and these are the kind of results you can get. You don't have to overpromise. They're going to get great results. It's going to take longer, and I'll always tell them this too. So this is always a nice sales tip. It's like, we can do a $500 ad budget. I was like, and we can get results, but always know that I'm going to always have completely different results with somebody who's going to pay me $500 versus someone who's going to pay me $1,500 a month in just an ad spend. You know what I mean? So just always kind of like be aware of that. And I think for small businesses, it really only takes, a few $100s just to kind of get things rolling. So yeah, that's a really long answer to your question.
No, that was a great answer. And one thing that you kind of you talked about at the very beginning that I want to make sure people got when you were talking about doing that initial kind of small consult with the client, like when you were talking about the things that you were telling them, like, we've been talking about this in the emails that I send out, and we try to talk about this in our products. Like, you were bringing value to the table before any money had changed hands. Like you're showing them like, hey, this, and so that the prospect, the guy you're talking to, immediately knows that you seem like you know your stuff, and you're there to help, which I think is a lot of times, I know in the beginning, I would go out and I think, oh, I gotta sell this client. I gotta sell this client. And it took me a while to really wrap my head around that this isn't a battle. Going out and talking to clients and prospects isn't a battle. If you go in with this idea that one side wins and one side loses, that's the wrong mindset to have. But if you can go in with hey, let me just see what you're doing and see if I can even help you, and let's talk about that. It's much easier to move along that process and then close them as a client, right?
Well, I think that philosophy works in a lot of different ways. Yeah, as a client, being willing to give them value right away, and it also works as we're networking together. I mean, that's why this offline sharks community works, is because we know that there's enough business to go around, and so we're able to kind of share and help each other get through that process for sure. But yeah, you have to be willing to put a little bit. I wouldn't hold back, and sometimes people do that. Another kind of sales tactic that I use, and it's very effective, is just letting them know it is actually true, and then now I just implement into every conversation. It was just hey, I am not a hard salesperson, and so today, this is our 30-minute or hour-long conversation. I was so my goal for today is that you have some action steps to move forward. Now, whether you want to hire us for part of it, all of it, or you want to just use your staff or do it yourself, then that's fine with me. Either option is great, because at the end of the day, I know that you'll get to make some kind of progress, and that makes me happy. And that's a great way to put it. Yeah. Hey, there's a couple of other questions here. Let's see. So Lori asked, she's mentioned staying focused on one thing long enough to gain traction. And I know that's something that I've struggled with. Do you have any thoughts on business product or just in general?
Yeah, I think a lot of times in the offline marketing space, there's, especially with people with products that are coming out, there's always a new thing. This is the hottest thing to do for local businesses. That's the hot, and so it's really easy to get sidetracked, because you pick up a product and you're okay, this is the thing I'm going to do, and you don't get results right away, and so you think, well, maybe it's that, so I'll move to this next thing. Do you have any just tips on how you stayed focused in the beginning with Facebook, or did you just decide, look, this is my thing, and I'm all in on this service, and you just kept chipping away until it worked? Or is there a point where you give a service up where you say oh, well, maybe this isn't the right thing to do?
Okay, so I think for myself, one of the reasons that I have been able to do everything I do is I'm actually a pretty strategic thinker. I really hate wasting time. I really do. And so, and just pretty much every area, it drives me crazy. And it's I only have so many hours a day, so I'm going to accomplish whatever I need to. And so I am hyper focused on kind of what works. And so you kind of test out a couple of things, but it's okay, same as running an ad campaign. You run 5 different ads, 3 aren't performing the way that you want them to, so you turn them off and keep focusing in. That doesn't mean you say, oh, these 3 aren't working, so I'm going to actually go start focusing on something completely different. It's just Facebook, they've just continued to be a contender. And there's been times that people have kind of wondered, as far as is this going to work? Or there was a shift in demographics, who was actually on the platform and that kind of thing. But another thing I tell clients too is if you want someone who's going to do all the flashy stuff for you and get your business on Snapchat and everything, I was unless it's your target market, I don't want to waste your time or my time. And it's both of our money. You could pay me to do it, but I don't want to do it because it's not going to get you the results that you want, and then you're going to think I'm not doing something right. So I think that Lori, as far as just staying focused, you just kind of, if there's something that you're doing and it's working, it's gonna, it'll take time, build traction, and then if you need to adjust it a little bit, It'll happen. Sometimes we have to adjust services. I didn't charge enough for Facebook ads when I first started. Absolutely, because the amount of time that I spent on it was insane, and it took time for me to feel confident and get the results that I wanted to be able to keep increasing, and so that kind of changed. I focused more on the content for a long time, so I think it's just one of those things but I knew that was the social media platform that was going to get me the kind of results that I wanted, and so I stayed honed in on that. And another piece of advice as far as staying focused is kind of like the low-hanging fruit. I think that all of us as business owners, we face, there's cash flow and all these different things. And so we get like distracted, like talk to people like, oh, I'm gonna start driving Uber. And I'm like, okay, you can go drive Uber for $10 or $20 an hour, I have no idea. Go do that. Or it's like, or you put that energy into your business and land a new client. Like that's your low-hanging fruit, just make it happen. And so you have to just kind of not get sidetracked by all the extra little things that could bring you more success when you're like, I can be really successful in this one arena or one or two arenas and make it happen.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I think too, one of the things that I got out of what you said there too is like, for the people that are watching this and maybe you don't have any clients or you've got one or two clients and it doesn't seem to be moving as fast as you would like it to, or you didn't make as much money as you wanted to, like that is a natural part of starting this type of business. Like I know I have been there where I'm like, oh my God, I am not charging enough to do this, because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm paying them to help them,
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you have to get those first few clients and do what you need to do to get them, but you should always be kind of just looking at what you're doing and evaluating, and it's okay to stop and readjust. It's okay to change your prices. Like the sky isn't going to come crashing down, right? Like you have a lot more leeway than you realize to kind of just like say, okay, here's the reset. Moving forward, this is what I charge for that, and and that's just what you do, right? It's like they always say, what's that thing they say about when you're in a war, and I use a war analogy after I just talked about how it's not a war, but I think when you're talking about running your business and getting your business off the ground, it's like no plan ever survives first contact with the enemy, as they say, right? And so like you're gonna have a great plan, and then you're gonna go out and get some clients, and it's not always gonna go the way that you want, and that's okay. Like give yourself a break, cut yourself some slack. At least you're out there doing and trying and moving forward. Like you may not at the time feel like you're making progress, but all of those experiences are valuable and will do nothing but help you as you move forward. And I think it's easy in the beginning if it doesn't work out the way you want, or it's not going quite the way you planned. It's easy to just say, oh, this isn't going to work, and give up. And the people that push through that cut themselves a little slack and say, okay, well that client didn't work out the way I wanted, but I'm going to make sure the next one does. Right? Those are the people that can get through this kind of stuff and move forward. Let me see. Let me look at some more questions here. So Bob said he's just getting started in learning Facebook and what it can do and how to do it. Yeah, I'm with you, Bob. That's what I'm just getting into.
People said they lost the video.
Oh.
I don't know. Is it back on, guys?
They've got audio on. Yeah, the video's down right now for some reason.
Okay, well, we have time for a couple more audio questions.
Yeah, you guys can hear us though, right? You guys can hear what we're saying? There's a couple more questions on here that I want to get to, and hopefully this is the first time I've used this Be Live platform, so it may be something buggy with what they've got going on. Let me see. Maybe I'll try switching the screen here. Anybody? No video, but the audio is good. All right, well, guys, sorry about the video part. We're going to go ahead and take some more questions with the audio, and then we'll put this. I should be able to leave this as a post in the group so you guys can go back and watch this too. So let's see. Gary asks, I've noticed so I guess now we're doing a podcast, right? Would we call it a live event or a podcast, right?
Exactly. Okay, thank you, Marshall. He said, all is not lost. Can't hear it. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. So Gary asked, I've noticed a number of local sponsored ads in my Facebook feed. So his first question is, what would you charge to make money? And question two, what about the ad artwork? So can you give them some general guidelines about like what you charge clients and
Sure. Yeah. So I go more in depth in the course, but here's kind of my there's three basic ways that you can structure your fees in my experience that I've seen successful. So one is a like a percentage, right? So some people will run a percentage for 25% or 20%, of your ad spend will run the ads. That's hard to do with a small business because it's such a low dollar amount. So not really my favorite, but one option. Two is to do like a flat rate plus a percentage. And so that's usually, I would say, okay, if you're going to do 3 different ads, it's going to take you X amount of hours. I try and keep those things in my mind when I'm pricing out, especially in the very beginning. And then as time goes by, then you can kind of build out, like add in the value pricing as well. Like, this is a valuable piece to you. But in general, I think, if I'm running a pretty like $1,000 worth of Facebook ads, I'm going to charge about $500. What the pricing that I use most often is kind of like a package pricing, and that's where we'll do a little bit of content and then do ads and then include the ad spend as well. And so they'll be paying like $700 and then maybe $200 or $250 is ads. And so
the $250 is what you set aside to pay for the ads. And then
right. So and some people will argue with me as far as whether or not that's effective, and like ad spend should be spent, like it should be billed entirely separately or a completely different line item. And for bigger clients, yes, I do separate it out. But for the small businesses, one of the biggest things they're thinking about is just like how much I'm gonna have to pay every month. And so I can give them something solid. I know that with $200 or $250 or even $150, I can get some kind of traction. It won't be a lot, there will be something. And if I make sure that they're okay with it being like a mix of getting some leads and getting some brand awareness, and you can make that happen. So and everywhere's different. I remember a little bit ago a girl contacted me from, I think she was in Georgia, and she saw me on Instagram or something, and so she did a call with me and she was asking like how she wanted to do the social media and how should she start. And I was like, well, for the first couple of clients, you want to just kind of don't charge too much. I was like, pay yourself $20 an hour, $30 an hour or whatever, and kind of figure out how much time it's going to take you. And as you get better and more efficient, then you can start obviously charging a lot more. And if it's kind of built from there. And so then she started to be able to realize that, okay, for a client with this, generally this many ads, it's going to take me about this many hours. So then you kind of, your flat rate is kind of building it to its own package.
I gotcha. And one thing that I would point out about doing flat rates and stuff, when you're figuring out like what your hourly rate is, one thing I always like to tell people, especially if they're new and just trying to figure this part out, is make sure that you always figure in profit in your, like a lot of times when people do their hourly rate, they think, oh, well, I've got to, this is how much I want to make, or this is what my costs are in this. But it's very important that you build in profit, because when profit is the reward you get for taking the risk of starting a business.
Oh yeah,
not some bad thing. So make sure when you're figuring out your hourly rate, whatever your hard costs are in there, but also make sure that you add in an amount of profit. And you can either do that backwards, where you say, okay, look, I want to make X amount of dollars a year, and if I reverse engineer that all the way back, this is what I need to make every hour. But make sure you include that in there. So that's good. And what about app artwork? Did you have something else to add to that? Sorry.
No, I would say just the most important thing is just like actually charging something and then kind of building from there and making sure you're not doing it for free. For the ad artwork, okay, so this is my different. Okay, my thing is I hate the best performance I ever get is when I use photos that don't have any text on them, as far as just CPC or very minimal. The Facebook is mandatory that you can only, the picture that you're using for ads can only have 20% of the total picture can have text on it, right? So if you're doing that, I like small businesses to at least spend a little bit of money in the beginning or whatever, but to get some nice pictures that we can use for the Facebook ads, some high resolution pictures, showing faces, especially for local businesses, because there's more of that community connection that you're going for. And but other than that too, using different stock photography, Canva is awesome. I don't know if you guys are familiar with using Canva as far as designing ads. It's kind of amazing. So you can use that.
And Canva is for like, I know, didn't they like position that as if you can't use Photoshop, like Canva is really simple to use.
Oh, very simple, very and it was built out for social media people. I mean, so if you go in there and you can pick, I mean, there's like dozens and dozens of templates. You can choose Facebook ad templates, cover pages for basically any social media platform, on demand, ad, like specs, like everything is already sized out for you. And so if you're just getting started, then that's a good way to go. Daryl said that he was like, no text,
Interesting. Well, that's a good tip. Yeah, that's a good tip.
I like Quinnick's question on the types of acquisition. The success. Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like type
Good.
He asked what kinds we have the most success with: email capture, phone calls, contacts, form submissions, and other. Well, it depends on the company, really, but I would say a mix between phone calls and submissions are usually how I get most. So I have a window company, and we try and focus everything on calls, and that does pretty well, actually. And so I make sure that as whatever you're doing, make sure you try and track as much things as you can, because people will tell you like, oh, maybe we're not getting the results that you want, but you want to be able to look at something and say, oh, I don't know, you've got 10 more calls or more submission forms or that kind of thing. But submission forms have also been are probably just like the easiest as far as trying to get something actually moving and getting a lead.
Okay.
I have a pet groomer, and so she does really well with the submission forms or just like outright booking.
Okay. So outright booking for her.
Oh, and then as far as like as far as the kind of client, everyone's different. For me, I try and gauge. I want clients that are going to have a high value per customer. It's going to make everything so much easier, because a window company, if a window company is making $15,000 on a sale, they don't need as many leads as a hat company who needs to create that volume. And so just to break even on the ads, you're going to have to sell a lot more hats, right? So that's just kind of a general rule of thumb. I love services. I mean, I do all the services or big ticket items.
Yeah, I think service businesses are a great type of market to go after anyway for offline marketing, because one, most of a lot of service businesses aren't technically savvy, and they know that. They're aware of that, and so they don't mind getting help because they know that that's not their strong suit, right? And but yeah, that's a good tip too. So mainly service businesses. Nick also asked, do you do any type of call tracking, or is that usually not needed?
Depending on the client, but I use CallRail. It's a program. I think it's like $3 or $2 a line. I can't remember. But you can have like a separate phone number for certain types of ads or any kind of marketing, actually. And so if you want to see how many calls are coming through specifically from that one place, it really helps.
CallRail.
Like RAIL.
Okay. CallRail. That's a good tip. Do they like? Here's a question for you about CallRail, and this really only pertains to anyone in Hawaii. But are you able to get 808 numbers?
Yes.
You are. Oh wow. I use Freedom Voice because I couldn't get. Like I tried to use CallFire, but they wanted to charge international rates for an 808 number, and so I used this service called Freedom Voice, bought by GoDaddy, but CallRail. Okay. That's a good one. All right. Nick said thanks. I've been looking and couldn't find one.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, I love them. They're super great. And then for Gary, Panda Docs. It's like $19.99 a month. I think until you have a pretty big fill up, but I use it for client agreements and for contracts, and like proposals too. Actually, sometimes I use. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just going to see if I can find the links for a couple of these resources and put them in the comments below this video that you can't see, that you're just listening to. There's the CallRail link. And then what is the name of
It's called Panda Doc, PANDADOC, like a black and white panda. But yeah, it's pretty fabulous. You can see when a client has clicked on it and like where they're scrolling through and where, like how far they've read on the document. You can have everyone sign electronically. It's made my life a much better place.
So can you guys see those links? Are they showing up in the comments below? So I'm trying to put those in there. Okay, awesome. Panda Doc. I hadn't heard of that one, so definitely check that out. And then here's the Canva link as well.
Oh yeah. Silent comment if there's someone else uses.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I mean, automation is key to small businesses. The more that we can automate or whatever we're doing, the easier it's going to make our lives. The other thing that I use is Agile CRM. And it took a little bit for me to get super into it, but I love it because you can build out like entire email sequences for clients. And so if I have a client, let's say we meet in person and they're interested in doing a discovery call, I can say pull down the template and say, hey, it was nice meeting you. I'd love to do a discovery call. Here's the link to schedule. And then if they don't respond back, then 4 days later or whatever, they get another email from me that's like pre-written and just like, hey, never heard back from you, just wanted to check in really quick, that kind of thing. And then later can like end it with them going into a yes, thank you. With it going into a newsletter or something like that. So I mean, those kind of things made my life so much easier.
Now, okay. Awesome. So, all right, I put some of those comments in there. That's great. Well, all right. Well, I think I don't really see any more questions coming in. So I know we've been on here for about an hour, and since there's no video, maybe this will be a good point for us to kind of wrap it up. I really appreciate you coming on and doing the Facebook Live event. I love the fact that the Sharks were getting nervous that we weren't going to get 100 likes. Like I kind of thought when I said 100 comments, I was like, oh, that's a lot. But let's see how close we can get. So we're excited to do this event with you guys, and keep your eye out on your inbox. Sharon's course is going to be coming out Tuesday, May 2nd. It launches at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. It's called, Tom says we lost the podcast.
Yes, it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. Client contract. So can you guys still hear us or no? Can somebody put in the comments if you can hear us? Oh, looks like we lost that. All right. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So Tuesday, May 2nd. Oh, it's still here. Okay. All right. Awesome. Somebody said Tom said he lost us. So. Okay. All right. So Sharon's course is called Down and Dirty Facebook Marketing. I told her when she told me the title for her product is like, I want to steal that. Down and Dirty. I loved it. But it's really all real tips and tactics that she's using in her agency and things she's doing. So keep an eye on your inbox. Nick and I are helping her put that out. It's going to be through Warrior Plus. And like I said, I was going through the back end of the product, and it's amazing if you don't know a lot about Facebook, if this is just something you're looking at getting into, this course is going to be exactly what you're looking for. And of course, Nick and I are behind it with Sharon, so you'll know you get all the same awesome support that we try to bring to all our product launches and stuff like that. So we really appreciate you guys all being here. Sharon, thanks again so much. Any parting words for our Sharks before we
thank you so much for having me. I joined the Sharks community a little bit ago, and I've been loving the conversations that we've been having. And so I was super excited to be able to do this live with you guys. And as far as the course, it's pretty similar. This is kind of my style. This is how I do things. I just kind of like line it out. This is how it is. And so if you want to also just that's how I go through it. As far as like here's how I create Facebook ads, and just walk you through where my brain's at and why I do what I do and that whole thing. So, but this was so fun, and I really appreciate everyone showing up, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, and Sharon, didn't you say that you brought on a new person to your team and you gave them access to the course to teach them how to do the stuff?
I did, yes. I was like, girl, I need you to get you up to speed, and I was like, and I just happen to have all of these videos on Facebook ads. She went through it, and she was just so excited, and she's running ads for me, so. Okay, I will slow down.
I talk super fast too, so two fast talkers on the call, time just flies by, right?
All right. Well, you guys have a fabulous day, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah, and hey, if you guys have any Facebook questions for Sharon, feel free to post them inside the group, and I'm sure she'll do her best to answer them, and we'll keep you updated on the launch. And if you guys liked what we did here, Nick and I want to do more of these, but only if you guys are interested in into them. So, leave a comment down below this video about how great, if you liked it, how great it was, any value you got out of it, and then Nick and I would love to keep doing these if you guys are interested in watching them and having us do them. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great Saturday, and we will talk to you guys later. Mahalo.
Thank you.